Good evening, everyone. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Frazier. We're talking about a little bit more in-depth take on the severe chances coming up this week. Yeah, they came back pretty quickly. Now, last week I had some steady severe chances from about Tuesday to Thursday, and well, those were just the rain chances though. Now there's severe chances. But you can't tell too much on our sky cam. It's beautiful outside. Look at that sunshine. It's 7:05 p.m. here in the Permian Basin, and we are back with 84 degrees. Not bad at all. Now here's the kind of trigger with a lot of this. We had a cold front. It passed through over the weekend. It brought some pretty active storms, mainly along the I-10 corridor from Fort Stockton all the way out to Big Lake before it pushed its way out into San Angelo and Abilene. They were severe. We did not get any kind of tornadic activity until, well, it moved out closer to San Angelo, which is certainly good for us. But that same system that brought those cooler temperatures and brought those storms, it's going back. Literally, it pushed, it hit the reverse button and is now coming back into our region as a warm front. That's going to start early tomorrow morning, and it's going to actually increase our instability in the atmosphere. It doesn't really look unstable now, but actually pressure, sea level pressure, 1,010 millibars, normally should be about 1,012. So we're on the lower end, but overall not too bad. But a lot of this heat and an increase in moisture throughout the overnight hours is going to leave us with that perfect kind of spring weather chance for strong to severe storms. Where are we sitting right now? We're kind of right where we should be, if not just slightly above average. Lots of those 80s, 82 for Odessa, 82 for Midland, about 90 for Dryden, Big Bend, and Presidio. Overall, not bad. In terms of increasing moisture, where is it? It's not on the radar. No, most of it isn't. We're actually going to stay pretty clear throughout the majority of the overnight hours, but the winds are going to be picking up a bit. They're coming in from the south, from the southeast, pulling off plenty of moisture from the Gulf, and that should help to increase a lot of that cloud cover. During those overnight hours, around those mid to upper 50s to those lower 60s. Okay. But heading out the door, about 60 degrees or so. You still have that flow from the southeast, 15 miles an hour. Not bad at all, but we are going to start to see that increasing severe chance going into the afternoon. Now, with increasing cloud cover throughout the day and the chance for that rain to come by and cool us off, I'm not looking at temperatures getting too terribly high, about 82 degrees on your way home. Not bad. South wind sustained about 20 miles an hour, maybe some occasional gusts, but most of those gusts are going to be localized within the storms themselves. Notice how I only put about 30% coverage. That's going to be the key. Not a lot of us are going to be seeing those rain chances, but those that do, it's going to be on the stronger side. So let's break it down for you here. Here's that future track. Throughout the next couple of hours, nothing going on. Just a nice steady flow from the southeast, keeping us nice and warm until the sun sets. Great. Early tomorrow morning, start to notice a lot of cloud cover beginning to build in. This is going to be around 8 a.m. Now, I want you to pay attention to right below the timestamp. This is the IBM model. This is our in-house model built in with our graphic system. This tends to be pretty accurate, and it also tends to be a little bit more conservative than some of those other models. So it's why I tend to use this one the most for our area. We don't tend to see a ton of rain out here, so I go with the more conservative of those models. Let's play it through. Throughout the majority of the morning, some of that cloud cover actually begins to dissipate a little bit. Then, well, we don't see a whole lot going on. Maybe Fort Stockton, seeing a little cloud popping in. Oh, here we go. Right around 3 o'clock, we start to see a little bit of that action beginning. Now, this model actually has some of those storms forming up in Ector County and then pushing its way a little bit farther and farther to the east. You guys remember Midland Odessa bubble? Yeah, it's that bubble that kind of prevents a lot of those storms from forming right on top of us, or if it does, it kind of breaks off. This model actually has that bubble in play because it tries to push its way into Midland, breaks apart just outside of the city, and kind of pushes out toward Big Spring. Now they're quickly forming up. Notice how strong those winds are coming in from about Del Rio up to Ozona and Big Lake. Strong winds. They're helping to fuel that storm. It's going to be that dividing line. Actually, let me see if it'll let me draw. It won't. Just kidding then. So we're going to see strong storms kind of along this line. Imagine that line dividing Midland and Ector County. That's the dry line. Separates dry air out to the west. It's going to be this stuff over here, and the wet air out to the east. It's going to be this stuff that we're seeing pop up of a couple of those showers and storms. This is going to be very quick, though. This is 5 o'clock, and then by 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, a lot of this stuff is already gone. It's pushed out into Big Lake, maybe even into Ozona, just outside of Snyder, maybe closer toward Sweetwater. Yeah, you don't need to worry about it. 8 o'clock, we're done. We're good. All right, as long as it's quick. Most of the storms for us tend to be pretty quick this time of year. Now, I'll certainly take it because there is that severe chance with a lot of this stuff. All right, here we go. Going into Tuesday night, nothing going on. Don't need to worry about it. A little bit of cloud cover trying to build its way back up. Increase instability in the atmosphere. This is going to be early morning Wednesday. And then we start to go, still not seeing a whole lot. As a matter of fact, everything kind of dissipates. Then that dry line starts acting up. It's going to be Wednesday night, starting to see a couple of these little pop-up showers and storms. These ones don't seem to be as organized. They're really just going to form along the dry line, maybe individual little cells, and then kind of just push their way out. Certainly not as strong, not as well developed, and then they're gone by around 8, 10 o'clock. So Wednesday night is going to be a little bit of a later night in terms of these storms development, but overall, we're looking at the same kind of risk for both days. But before I get into that risk factor, I want to show you one of the more aggressive models. This is the HRRR. It's what the National Weather Service tends to use for a lot of their models. And it tends to be very good at high resolution, but for a very short period of time. It only goes out about 36 hours or so. So we only get to really see kind of what's going on for tomorrow. But it tends to do quite well. For here, it's kind of a toss-up. Sometimes it's right. It was very accurate on Saturday, but I tend to go on the more conservative side because I know our area well enough that, hey, we're probably not going to see a whole lot of activity. All right, this is during those overnight hours. Not too bad. Then we get into about Tuesday, right around 2 o'clock, and then 3 o'clock. Oh, so instead of starting up in Ector County, this model has it starting up right on the northern end of Fort Stockton and even Pecos County. Okay, then it pushes its way up to the I-20 corridor. Still kind of has that split though. Not all that strong for Odessa and Midland, but staying pretty strong right near the Stockton Plateau. That's almost right around where we tend to see most of our strong storms. Right around for the Stockton Plateau, moving into Ira and even Crockett County, and then out toward Big Lake. This is almost exactly what we saw happen on Saturday. This is around 7 o'clock or so. Big Spring gets their share of those rain chances. By 8, 9 o'clock, this stuff is gone. Don't need to worry about it so much. So it's still going to be really, is it going to start in Ector County? Is it going to start in Pecos County? We will see. Overall, I'm looking at some strong to severe storms. Let's move this out a little bit further, going into Wednesday morning, and then the models kind of stop at around 3 o'clock. All right, so I'm not going to get a whole lot more information just based off that, but I will get some more information based off that severe risk. Here we go, up to that level 2 slight risk. Let's actually zoom it out. So I want you guys to show this is the whole area. We're talking from Amarillo all the way up to almost, what city is that off the top of that? I believe it looks like Wichita, Kansas. Yeah, Oklahoma City, it's going to be under that marginal risk. Main threats with this, there is a 15% chance you can see some strong hail. There's also a 15% chance you could see some strong winds. And there's a 2% chance we could see tornadic development. Now, what do you guys ask me? A very good question. Could we see this be upgraded to a level 3 enhanced risk by tomorrow? It's certainly possible. That's exactly what happened to us on Saturday. On Saturday, we were under that level 2 risk for most of the day, and then by early Saturday morning, boom, level 3 risk. Now, luckily, we didn't get the impacts of it. Now, the main reason they upgraded that threat to level 3 was because that hail threat increased up to about 30%, and you could see some really large, what we call gorilla hail. Gorilla hail, all right, that sounds terrifying. If the hail the size of a gorilla fell down, that's not good. No, gorilla hail just means anything over about 2 inches in diameter. Think about a baseball or bigger. That's what we call gorilla hail, at least in the weather community. So, to get up to a level 3 risk, we're going to need a higher tornado threat. Not even the threat that we have now would even be enough for a level 2 risk. So that's good to an extent. We would need either a larger hail threat or a larger wind threat. And it's all going to depend on what that dry line is doing, what these dew points are going to be. I'm not looking at a ton of moisture ahead of this thing, so it's going to limit a lot of that instability. We are looking at instability, but we are seeing overall, I think we might just stick around a level 2. If we get up to a level 3, it might be localized a little bit farther to the north. We're kind of on the southern end of this system. Most of these storms and most of the severe risks tend to be in a bit of a bubble. If we do see anything, maybe closer toward Lubbock and Amarillo. I can't say for certain though. I'm not the people at the Storm Prediction Center. They're based in Norman, Oklahoma. Because it's hitting them too, they're going to be keeping an eye on this entire thing. But as it zooms into us, most of the stuff, if you're going to be out in Carlsbad, Artesia, Van Horn, even Presidio, you're going to be on the dry end of the dry line. You're not going to see this stuff. But mainly the northern Permian Basin, if you're along Interstate 20 and north of Interstate 10, this is where a lot of that activity is going to be taking place. Let's go into Wednesday. Wednesday is kind of similar. Actually, most of it is going to be kind of pushed up a little bit farther north. It's the same kind of look. Actually, if I zoom out a little bit, this one actually only extends to about Lubbock. So if we do see that level 3 risk, again, certainly possible, but it's going to be farther and farther to the north. And again, you're still going to need to see hail, wind, or tornado threat go up. Because we are at about 3 days out here, can't really tell what that wind, hail, and that tornado threat is going to be. But I can tell you, we got that threat for tomorrow. Wind, hail, and tornadoes. Now, the tornado risk, lower than the wind and the hail threat. But a lot of the activity is going to be between noon and 6 o'clock. So, middle of your day. Yeah, maybe make sure everything is good to go. You might have to stay at work or school just a little bit later as these storms pass through. It's always safe to just wait until the storm passes through, and then we should be good to go at that point. I'll take it. But most of this, you're also going to want to watch out for some localized flooding. Remember on Saturday, a lot of places right around Big Lake or so started to see some flash flood warnings popping in. And that was actually because you got a lot of that very heavy rainfall falling in all at once. And while we're already in a drought, sand doesn't really absorb water all that well. So it just kind of hangs around until it evaporates. So next couple of days, still looking at an impact alert day because we are under that level 2 risk for Tuesday and Wednesday. For Thursday, the models don't go out that far. Sorry, they only go out to day 3. And today counts as day 1. But going beyond that into Friday, not too bad. Temperatures staying relatively consistent. And with a little bit of moisture in the atmosphere, with a little bit of that cloud cover, we don't get big temperature variations between night and day. Notice much of the night, it's going to be around 60 degrees. Much of the day, around 80 degrees. 20-degree difference? That's certainly a lot more doable. Saturday, Sunday, some of the models are trying to show those rain chances as well. I'm not looking at anything too crazy, but it's still too early to tell. If I can't tell you if there's a severe risk for Thursday, I certainly can't tell you if there's a severe risk for Saturday and Sunday. Hey, this is